A warm welcome, my friend. Thank you for checking out my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, and share this video. It supports my work greatly. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I read every comment. Let's go. My name is Miles, and for as long as I can remember, I've believed that hard work is the foundation of any meaningful achievement. That's the principle I was raised on. Put in the effort, stay committed, and eventually, life rewards you. I lived by that rule like it was gospel. Ava and I had been married for 3 years. We were still figuring out the rhythm of being a couple, learning the daily nuances of shared life. I adored her, wholeheartedly and without question. Everything I did was driven by a simple motive, to build a life she could be proud of. So, I pushed myself harder. I clocked extra hours, passed on days off, all the while repeating the same mantra. One more push, and we'll get there. My mornings began before dawn, with a soft kiss on her forehead before heading out the door. By the time I came home, I was running on fumes. Most nights ended with a quiet dinner, a shower, and a head hitting the pillow. I wasn't blind to how distant that must have felt, but I reassured myself that she understood the reasons. It was for both of us, especially for her. And when time allowed, I tried to tip the balance back. Weekend trips, fancy dinners, little surprises. I never claimed perfection, but I gave what I had. But recently, something had changed. There was a subtle, growing silence between us. Eva wasn't quite herself. At first, I figured it was just the grind getting to her. Life can dull anyone's spark. I didn't confront it directly. I thought if I kept loving her, kept showing up, things would fall back into place on their own. They didn't. One evening, I got home earlier than usual. She was curled up on the couch, scrolling through her phone. "Hey," I said, dropping my bag. "How was your day?" She looked up briefly. It was okay. Her answers were getting shorter. Her smiles felt like they belonged to someone else. "You doing all right?" I asked, sitting beside her. "Just tired," she murmured, placing her phone face down on the cushion. I didn't push. I figured she needed room to breathe, but I couldn't ignore the way she clutched that phone lately, the way she'd quickly lock the screen when I walked in, or how often I caught her grinning at something she read. Finally, one night, I asked, trying to keep my voice light, "Who's been keeping you so entertained?" She hesitated. "Just an old friend." Something about her tone didn't sit right. "Yeah? Who?" She sighed like I was being unreasonable. "Her name's Maya. You wouldn't know her." I nodded, pretending that answer was enough, though my gut twisted with doubt. That Friday, I made a choice. I left work early, hit the market, and picked up all the ingredients for her favorite meal: steak, mashed potatoes rich with garlic and cream, and tiramisu for dessert. When she came in, the table was set, candles casting soft shadows, music humming gently in the background. "What's going on here?" she asked, eyebrow raised. "I just wanted to do something for us," I said, pulling out her chair. She offered a real smile, and for the first time in weeks, I felt like I was reaching her. "This is lovely, Miles," she said, sitting down. "You didn't have to go to all this trouble." "I wanted to. You're worth it." Dinner started off like old times. We laughed, reminisced, shared stories. For a moment, we felt like we'd found our way back. But after her third glass of wine, and especially the fourth, everything shifted. "You're a good man, Miles," she said, swirling the wine in her glass. "Thanks," I replied, smiling. "I do my best." "That's why I married you," she added. "You're reliable, steady." There was something about her voice, something that stung. I stayed quiet. "You're not exciting or anything," she said softly. "But you're stable." I set my fork down. "What are you getting at, Ava?" She hesitated before letting out a long breath. "I don't know. Lately I feel like there's something missing." "Missing?" I asked. What do you mean? Her eyes were glossy from the wine. The fire, the intensity. I don't feel that same pull anymore. I leaned back, appetite gone. So what does that mean? She looked away. I've been seeing someone. The room fell silent. My heart felt like it stopped. What? I said, barely audible. I didn't plan it, she said quickly. It just happened. I didn't know how to tell you. I sat motionless as she continued, saying she'd met him at a party, that he was bold, spontaneous, everything I apparently wasn't. It wasn't supposed to go this far, she said, not meeting my eyes. How long has it been? My voice was low and cold. A few months, she answered. A few months, I repeated, the words tasting bitter. So while I've been killing myself trying to build something real, you were... I couldn't even finish the thought. I didn't want to hurt you, she whispered, tears threatening. I hate that it came to this. I felt like I was fading, and he made me feel alive. I stood, my chair scraping against the floor. Alive? My voice was shaking. Do you even see what I've been doing? I've been pushing myself to the limit, working late, giving everything I had, just to keep us strong. And this is what you do with it? She sat motionless, her hands covering her face, shoulders heaving with sobs. For a fleeting moment, I wanted to scream, to let every bit of pain and rage erupt from me. But I didn't. I turned my back and left the dining room, leaving her behind with her tears and a glass of wine gone warm and unfinished. That night, I chose the couch. Not because she asked. I simply couldn't bring myself to lie beside her. Staring up at the ceiling in the dark, my mind reeled with memories. The joy, the fights, the pieces of us that once made sense. And now, this silence. Long before the first light crept into the room, my decision was made. I rose quietly and walked into the bedroom. She lay there fast asleep, tucked beneath the sheets, untouched by the chaos she helped create. I stood there for a moment, watching her. A part of me wanted to wake her, to force her to feel the storm raging inside me, but it would do no good. So I walked to the closet, pulled out a suitcase, and began packing. Just the essentials, clothes, my work laptop, and a few personal items I couldn't bear to leave behind. I had just zipped the suitcase shut when her voice cut through the quiet, groggy, uncertain. Miles? She asked, propping herself up. What are you doing? I turned to face her, my expression unreadable. I'm leaving. Her eyes widened as she pushed the covers aside and sat up. Wait, what do you mean? Why? There was no hesitation in me. Why? You cheated, Ava, and you're asking me why? She stared at me in stunned silence. Then finally, can we talk about this? I shook my head, my voice flat. There's nothing to talk about. You made your decision. Now I'm making mine. Her face contorted, tears beginning to fall. Miles, please. I know I messed up. I know. But we can get through this. I want to fix it. A short, bitter laugh escaped me. Now you want to fix it? After everything? I still love you, she whispered, stepping closer. I don't know why I did it, but you're enough for me. You always were. Love? I said, my voice rising and cracking. Is that what this is? Lying to me? Keeping secrets? That's not love, Eva. That's betrayal. She reached out, touching my arm, but I pulled back. Don't, please, she begged, her voice breaking. I'll do anything. Therapy, whatever it takes. Just don't go. I looked at her, jaw tight, struggling to hold myself together. For a moment, I wanted to believe her. I wanted to grab onto that tiny spark of hope that maybe we could fix what was broken. But then I remembered how calmly she had told me, like it was just another unfortunate event, something she couldn't control, something that just happened. No, I said firmly. gripping the handle of my suitcase. Some things can't be undone. You broke something in me, and I can't just pretend it's still whole. Now her sobs came in waves, the kind that racked her entire body. But I stood firm. If I let myself soften, even a little, I'd never leave, and I knew I had to. I walked into the living room. She followed quickly, desperation in every step. "Miles, please wait," she cried, grabbing my arm. I turned to her just once. "I loved you," I said quietly. "I gave everything I had, and it still wasn't enough." She opened her mouth to reply, but no words came out. I shook my head, turned away, and walked out the door. I didn't look back. Once in the car, I turned the key and sat there for a moment. A wave of emotion crashed over me. Grief, fury, and something faintly resembling freedom. My hands trembled on the steering wheel. Still, I backed out of the driveway. As I drove, one truth settled deep in my chest. The man who would have moved heaven and earth for our marriage no longer existed. Eva had killed that man the moment she chose someone else over the life we had built. That morning, I didn't just walk away from a house, I left behind the life we shared. I made a choice, and I knew I wouldn't undo it. Over the next several weeks, I went through the painful, necessary process of unraveling everything we had built together. I called an attorney first, told him I wanted it done fast and clean. No courtroom drama, no bitterness, just closure. Cutting the ties was the worst part. I closed joint accounts, opened new ones in my name, canceled shared cards, and rerouted the utilities. Every step was a quiet severing, a small death of what we'd once created. And each one hurt more than the last. But I did it anyway. Eva kept trying to reach me. Voicemails came one after another, some begging, others angry. "Miles, please call me. We can fix this. Doesn't any of this mean something to you?" One night, she sent a long email filled with emotion. I opened it, skimmed the first few lines, then closed it. Not because I didn't care, but because I cared too much. Letting her voice back in would undo me. Strangely, the divorce went through quickly. We agreed on the terms with minimal back and forth. She kept the house and got a fair settlement. I didn't fight her on any of it. That house, once filled with memories, was now just walls and furniture to me. Let her keep it. The day I signed the final documents, I sat in my car afterward, staring through the windshield for what felt like hours. It was done. Over. No more hope. No more imagining what could have been. I thought I might feel free, maybe even relieved. Instead, I felt a hollow ache that wouldn't leave. Still, I never turned around. For a while, she kept reaching out, more apologies, a few angry words, but over time, even those stopped. "You never cared, did you?" That was one of the last messages she sent. You turned away like I was just another mistake. I never wrote back. What was left to say? She had once been my entire world, and because of that, not despite it, I had to let her go. Her messages eventually stopped. Word got around that she had moved on, with the same man she'd been seeing behind my back during our marriage. The months that followed were unforgiving. I found myself in a small apartment downtown, a shadow of the life we had shared. The silence was unbearable. I threw myself into work, losing days to projects and meetings, anything to avoid the pain. But no matter how packed my schedule became, the loneliness always found its way back in. Nearly a year after everything unraveled, I heard from friends that Eva wasn't doing well. The man she'd left me for ended things with her barely 3 months in. The money she'd received from the settlement vanished quicker than anyone anticipated, and she was struggling to keep her home. She tried to rebuild, but life gave her no footing. The same people who once supported her began to drift away. She was left alone. Meanwhile, I was quietly beginning to piece my life back together. A promotion came through. I started traveling again, rediscovering parts of myself in unfamiliar places. I met someone, Sophie, someone steady, gentle, and quietly strong. One still afternoon, as I sat reading in my apartment, the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened the door, it was her, Eva. Time had left its mark. She looked older, worn down, but she still carried that same self-assurance, as if she expected I'd welcome her back without hesitation. "Miles," she said softly. I kept my tone neutral. "Why are you here?" "I needed to see you," her voice cracked. I made a terrible mistake." I exhaled slowly, shaking my head. "Ava, we've had this talk. It's done." "I know," she murmured, her eyes glossy with tears. "But I can't stop thinking about what I gave up, what I did to you. I was blind, Miles. I walked away from the only person who ever truly loved me." I looked at her and felt a storm of emotions: sadness, anger, a tired kind of empathy. "You're right," I said quietly. "You did." "Please, can't we try again?" she whispered. "No," I replied, steady and clear. "You made your choice. Now you have to live with it." She began to cry, crumbling there on my doorstep, but I didn't reach out. I didn't ask her in. "I hope you find what you're looking for," I said gently, and I closed the door. As I returned to my chair, a calm washed over me. Not cold, not bitter, but freeing. For the first time in ages, I realized I didn't need her apology to move forward. I had already found my peace. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is walk away, and sometimes, real peace comes from knowing when it's time to let go. This story has come to an end. What's your opinion? Share it in the comments, my friend. And if you like this story, check out other exciting videos on my channel. I'll say goodbye until the next video. See you.